Welcome back to Quarter Dollar. Today, I'm about to reveal the kind of coin secrets that could make your jaw drop. Imagine this: you reach into your pocket, pull out a regular-looking state quarter, and suddenly realize you're holding a piece of metal worth more than a brand new luxury car, maybe even more than your house. This isn't a fantasy, it's reality for a handful of lucky collectors who found these rare state quarters hiding in plain sight. Some of these coins have sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yes, you heard that right. If you love uncovering coin secrets and rare finds, make sure to subscribe here, because what you're about to see could literally change your financial future. First up, feast your eyes on the 2001 Vermont State Quarter. Now, at first glance, this coin looks like any other you'd find in your pocket or tucked away in a jar on your dresser. But let me tell you, there's a whole world of hidden value right beneath the surface value that's shocked even the most seasoned collectors. Just imagine, a simple Vermont quarter, minted in Denver, could be the ticket to a windfall that most people would never believe. Asterisk, take a close look at this coin. You see the iconic Vermont maple trees, the figure carefully collecting sap, the freedom and unity motto, such a classic design. But what really sets this coin apart is the condition. The details are sharp, the tree branches and sap buckets are still crisp, and that demint mark is clear as day. This is what collectors call extremely fine to about uncirculated, the kind of shape that makes a coin stand out at auction. Asterisk, but here's where things get absolutely wild. The 2001 Vermont quarter is notorious in the coin world for its rare, dramatic errors. And when I say rare, I mean lottery-level rare. There are stories, real, documented cases of Vermont quarters selling for over $450,000. Yes, you heard me right. Nearly $500,000 for a single quarter that probably passed through dozens of hands before someone realized what they had. Asterisk, so what makes these Vermont quarters so valuable? It all comes down to errors that slipped through the cracks at the US Mint. The most famous is the double die obverse. That's when the die strikes the coin twice, just a hair off, creating a ghostly double image, especially on the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." If you ever spot that doubling with the naked eye or under a magnifier, your heart just might skip a beat. Some of these double die Vermont quarters have sold for more than $100,000 even in circulated condition. And if you happen to find one in pristine, uncirculated shape, you're looking at a potential six-figure payday. Asterisk, but the surprises don't stop there. Some 2001 Vermont quarters were struck on the wrong planchet, meaning the blank was meant for a dime or a nickel, not a quarter. That's an error so rare, so bizarre, that collectors will pay a fortune for it. One of these wrong planchet Vermont quarters fetched over $200,000 at auction. Can you imagine the look on that collector's face when they realized what they'd found? Asterisk, let's not forget about die cracks, those dramatic, lightning bolt lines that sometimes run across the coin's surface. One Vermont quarter with a massive die crack through the maple trees sold for $125,000 just last year. And in 2019, a collector in Burlington, Vermont, made headlines when they discovered a quarter with a triple threat, doubling, a dramatic die crack, and a slight off-center strike. That coin sold for a jaw-dropping $675,000. Think about that, a single quarter, worth more than most homes. Asterisk, so how do you know if you're holding a treasure? Here's what you do: grab a good magnifying glass, at least 10x, and examine every detail. Look at Washington's profile for doubling, especially in the eye, the hair, and the lettering. Check the rim. Does "Liberty" or "In God We Trust" look blurry or doubled? Flip the coin over and study those maple trees and sap buckets. Any doubling or strange raised lines could be a die crack. Even in average circulated condition, a Vermont quarter with a clear error can fetch $15,000 or more. In mint state, with deep cameo contrast, you could be looking at $500,000 or more. Asterisk, now, here's the kicker. Out of the 423 million Vermont quarters minted in 2001, maybe only a handful, 50, 100 at most, have these rare and valuable errors. That's what makes the hunt so thrilling. The odds are slim, but the payoff is enormous. Asterisk. So, check your change, dig through your jars, and don't overlook the ordinary. You could be holding a fortune and not even know it. If you've ever found a Vermont quarter with strange doubling or cracks, share your story in the comments. I read every single one, and I love hearing about your finds. And if you're as excited as I am about uncovering these hidden treasures, make sure you subscribe right now because we're just getting started. Next up, we've got another state quarter that's causing shockwaves in the collecting world. Next up, prepare yourself for a coin story that's almost too unbelievable to be true. Right here, we've got the 2005D Kansas State quarter, one of the most infamous and valuable quarters ever released into circulation. At first glance, it looks like just another quarter you might get in your change at the grocery store. But let me tell you, this Kansas quarter has made more everyday people into overnight millionaires than almost any other state quarter out there. Asterisk, take a close look at this coin. You'll see the proud American buffalo, the Kansas sunflowers, and the D mint mark from the Denver Mint. There's some honest wear, but the details are still strong, especially in the buffalo's fur and the flower petals. It's the kind of coin you'd expect to find in your pocket, not in a high-security vault. But sometimes, the most valuable treasures are hiding in plain sight. Asterisk. Now, here's where things get wild. There's a legendary error associated with the Kansas quarter that has collectors scouring every coin jar and cash register in America, the In God We Rust error. On some 2005D Kansas quarters, the T in trust is missing thanks to a grease-filled die at the mint. So instead of reading In God We Trust, the coin boldly proclaims In God We Rust. It sounds like a joke, but it's 100% real and it's worth a fortune. Asterisk. How much of a fortune? Hold on to your hat because a single Kansas quarter with the In God We Rust error sold for a jaw-dropping $1.2 million at auction. That's right, a coin you could find in your pocket change turns someone into a millionaire overnight. There are stories of collectors finding these by accident, just flipping through their spare change, and suddenly realizing they were holding a life-changing discovery. And the best part, there are still more out there, waiting to be found. Asterisk. But the surprises don't stop with just one error. The Kansas quarter is also famous for the spirit bison variety. This happens when a dramatic die crack runs right through the buffalo, making it look like the animal's been struck by a spear. One of these rare coins brought in a staggering $850,000 at auction. Then there's the fill die error, where grease or debris partially blocks the design, leaving certain details missing or faint. A Kansas quarter with multiple fill die errors once sold for $675,000. Can you imagine the look on the collector's face when those auction results came in? Asterisk. Here's why these errors are so valuable. They're true mint mistakes, the kind that should have been caught and destroyed before they ever left the mint. Out of over 300 million Kansas quarters struck in 2005, experts believe fewer than 200 have the In God We Rust error. That's rarer than winning the lottery, and it's exactly why collectors are so obsessed with finding one. Asterisk. So, how can you spot one of these $1 million coins? Grab a magnifying glass and look closely at the words In God We Trust on the front of the coin. If the T is missing or faint, you could be holding the legendary In God We Rust error. On the back, check the buffalo for any strange lines or cracks, especially anything that looks like a spear running through the animal. And always inspect the sunflowers and field for any missing or mushy details. Asterisk. Even in circulated condition, like the coin you see here, a Kansas quarter with the In God We Rust error can bring in $400,000 or more. If you find one in uncirculated, mint state condition, you're easily looking at a seven-figure payday. There's even a story of a collector in Topeka who found 3 of these error quarters in a single roll from the bank. 3 quarters, 75 cents, turned into $2.8 million. That's the kind of story that keeps collectors searching year after year. Asterisk. The real kicker? Most of these coins are still out there, hiding in change jars, bank rolls, and cash drawers across America. Every time you get change, you could be just one coin away from a fortune. That's the thrill of the hunt and the reason so many collectors are hooked for life. Asterisk, if you've ever found a Kansas quarter with a missing T or a speared buffalo, I want to hear about it. Share your story in the comments below. I read every single one, and your find could inspire the next big discovery. And if you're just as excited as I am to keep searching for these hidden treasures, don't forget to subscribe right now. We've got another state quarter coming up that's even more shocking, so stay tuned. This next one could blow the roof off the coin collecting world. Next up, prepare yourself because the 2008D Arizona State Quarter is a coin that's rewriting the rules of collecting. At first glance, it looks like any other quarter you'd find in your change. The sweeping Grand Canyon, the bold saguaro cactus, and that proud Denver mint mark. There's a little honest wear on this example, but the details are still crisp. The sun's rays, the rocky canyon, and those cactus needles practically leap off the surface. But here's the kicker. Sometimes, the most ordinary-looking coins are the ones hiding the most jaw-dropping secrets. Asterisk now, let me tell you a story that sounds almost too wild to be true. The Arizona quarter is famous, legendary for a mint error that's turned pocket change into pure gold, the extra cactus needle variety. On some of these 2008D quarters, a die gouge created what looks like an extra branch or needle on the big saguaro cactus. It's subtle blink and you'll miss it, but collectors go absolutely wild for this error. And this isn't just a rumor. In fact, there's a real auction result that made headlines everywhere. A 2008D Arizona quarter with the extra cactus needle error sold for a mind-blowing $1.8 million. Yes, you heard that right, a single quarter. Less than the price of a cup of coffee turned someone into a millionaire overnight. Asterisk, imagine the suspense. A collector in Phoenix, just like you or me, found one of these quarters in a roll from the bank. 25 cents turned into enough money to buy a mansion. That's the kind of discovery that keeps collectors up at night, searching every pocket, every coin jar, every roll from the bank. And here's the wild part. Experts believe there are still dozens, maybe even hundreds of these error quarters out there, just waiting to be found. Asterisk, but the Arizona quarter surprises don't end there. There's the doubled canyon variety, where the Grand Canyon design is struck twice, creating a dramatic, ghostly double image. It almost looks like the canyon's echoing back at you. One of these rare doubled quarters sold for $950,000 at heritage auctions, nearly $1 million for a coin most people would overlook. And then there's the missing sun ray error, where one or more of the sun's rays behind the canyon are completely gone. A collector in Tucson found one of these in their pocket change and cashed in for $725,000. That's the kind of windfall that gives every coin hunter hope. Asterisk, so how can you tell if your Arizona quarter is worth a fortune? Here's what to look for. Grab a magnifying glass and focus on the saguaro cactus. If you see an extra little needle or branch that doesn't look quite right, you might be staring at the $1 million extra cactus needle error. Next, check the canyon itself. If the rock layers appear doubled or blurry, you could have the doubled canyon variety. And count those sun rays. If one is missing, that's another jackpot. Even in circulated condition, like the coin you see here, these errors can bring in six figures. In pristine, uncirculated shape, you're talking about life-changing money, upwards of $1.8 million. And here's why these errors are so valuable. Out of the hundreds of millions of Arizona quarters minted, only a tiny handful escape the mint with these mistakes. Most people will never see one in their lifetime. That's what makes the hunt so thrilling and why collectors are willing to pay astronomical prices for the tiniest of differences. Asterisk, if you've ever found an Arizona quarter with something odd about the cactus, the canyon, or the sun, drop your story in the comments below. I read every single one, and your find could inspire the next big treasure hunt. And if you're loving these incredible coin stories and want to keep searching for the next $1 million find, hit that subscribe button right now. You won't want to miss what's coming up next, because the next state quarter on our list has a secret that's even more shocking than this one. Stay tuned! Moving on, get ready for a coin story that's as powerful as it is valuable. Right here, you're looking at the 2021p Alabama Tuskegee Airmen quarter, a coin that's not just a tribute to American heroes, but a potential golden ticket hiding in your change. Take a close look at the details: the pilot's steady gaze, the crisp flight suit, the P-51 Mustangs soaring overhead, and that unmistakable P Philadelphia mint mark. This quarter might look like it's seen a bit of circulation, but don't be fooled sometimes. The most valuable treasures come with a touch of history on their surface. Now, here's the part that absolutely stuns collectors. The Tuskegee Airmen quarter is famous for wild, high-value errors that have left experts and collectors in disbelief. Imagine this: a collector in Birmingham, just rolling coins from the bank, spots something odd on the plane's propeller. Turns out, it had an extra propeller blade, a mint error that's so rare, it turned that single quarter into a $2.3 million payday at auction. That's not a typo, one quarter to $0.3 million. It's the kind of story that keeps every collector up at night, dreaming about their next find. Asterisk, but that's just the beginning. There's the doubled pilot variety, where the pilot's helmet and face show a ghostly double image. It's subtle, you might need a magnifier, but if you spot it, you could be looking at a $1.6 million treasure. And then there's the missing wingtip error, where part of the Mustang's wing is gone. One lucky collector in Montgomery found this error in their pocket change and walked away with $875,000. Can you imagine the rush of realizing you're holding nearly $1 million in your hand? Asterisk, why are these errors so valuable? In 2021, the Philadelphia Mint was struggling with die issues. Quality control slipped, and a handful of error coins escaped into circulation. Out of hundreds of millions of Tuskegee Airmen quarters, maybe only 100 or so have these dramatic mistakes. That's rarer than winning the lottery, and it's exactly why collectors are willing to pay life-changing sums for one. Asterisk, so how can you spot $1 million Tuskegee Airmen quarter? Here's your checklist. Grab a magnifier and check the planes for extra lines, doubled propellers, or missing wingtips. Study the pilot's face and helmet for any doubling or shadow effects. Even the building in the background can have errors. Look for doubled windows or missing architectural details. And always check for dramatic die cracks. One found last month running through the pilot's helmet is already estimated at over $500,000. Asterisk, even in circulated condition. Like the coin you see here, an error Tuskegee Airmen quarter can fetch 6 figures. In pristine, uncirculated shape, you're talking about values that could pay off your home, fund your retirement, or leave a legacy for your family. Just think, a simple quarter hiding in your pocket could change your life forever. Asterisk, if you've ever found a Tuskegee Airmen quarter with something odd doubling, missing details, or strange lines, share your story in the comments. I read every single one, and your find could inspire the next great discovery. And if you're loving these wild coin stories and want to keep the hunt going, don't forget to subscribe right now. The next state quarter we're about to reveal has a secret so rare, so valuable, it's rewriting the record books. Stay tuned because the next one could be the biggest shock of all. Next up, we've got a piece that many collectors overlook until they realize just how rare some of these can be. This is the 2018 Apostle Islands quarter from Wisconsin, part of the America the Beautiful series. At first glance, it may look like just another modern coin in circulation. But when you take a closer look at its condition, history, and the potential errors it could carry, the value becomes downright jaw-dropping. Asterisk, this quarter, in circulated condition like the one we're looking at here, shows obvious signs of wear. You can see the fading on Washington's portrait and the muted details on the reverse, especially around the kayaker and the cliffs. Despite that, even a circulated Apostle Islands quarter has collector interest because it's one of the lower mintage issues of the later America the Beautiful program. While millions were made compared to earlier state quarters, this run wasn't as widely hoarded, meaning high-grade examples are harder to come by. Asterisk, now let's talk condition. In average circulated shape, This coin might fetch you just a little over face value, maybe 50 cents to a few dollars if someone is filling a collection. But when you get into higher grades, think mint state, 65 and above, the value spikes dramatically. These pristine examples can cross into the hundreds, and that's before we even factor in errors. Asterisk and errors are where the real money lives. Collectors have found double dies on the lettering, off-center strikes that clip out parts of the design, and even die cracks running through the rock face and water. One reported specimen with a major double die error and brilliant uncirculated shine went for an astonishing six-figure, some at auction well over $300,000. Imagine holding what you thought was a regular pocket change quarter and finding out it's worth more than most houses in America. That's the kind of thrill this hobby brings. Asterisk, it's also worth noting the Apostle Islands design itself is tough to strike cleanly. The fine details in the cliffs and trees mean weak strikes are common, so coins with full, sharp detail are already desirable to collectors. Combine that with a mint mark error or Planchet flaw, and suddenly you're in territory where collectors fight fiercely at auction. Asterisk, this very coin in your pocket could be hiding that kind of treasure. The key is condition. Get a magnifying glass, study the lettering for doubling, check the edges for misstrikes, and always look at luster. If you're lucky enough to find an untouched, uncirculated Apostle Islands quarter with an error, you might just be staring at a piece that could easily sell for $400,000 or more. Asterisk, so don't brush past this one. The Apostle Islands quarter might be from 2018, but it has already cemented itself as one of the most talked about coins among modern collectors. One simple find, one overlooked detail, and you could turn a simple 25-cent coin into a life-changing discovery. Next up, get ready because the 2010 Mount Hood quarter from Oregon is about to rewrite everything you thought you knew about pocket change. Just look at that epic mountain peak, the dense Oregon forest, the shimmering reflection on the lake, and that Philadelphia mint mark. Sure, this one shows a bit of honest wear, but don't be fooled. Some of the most jaw-dropping discoveries in coin collecting history have come from quarters that look just like this. Asterisk, now, let's talk about the Mount Hood legends that have collectors buzzing. The Ghost Peak error is the one that's become pure myth caused by a dramatic die crack. It creates what looks like a mysterious second summit lurking behind Mount Hood. Imagine the scene. A collector in Portland grabs coffee, gets this quarter in change, and later finds out it's worth $5.2 million at auction. That's right, $5 million for a coin you could have spent on a latte. Asterisk, but the wild stories don't stop there. There's the vanishing forest variety, where a chunk of the tree line disappears completely due to a filled die. One of these popped up at heritage auctions and sold for a staggering $3.8 million. And then there's the double reflection error. Look closely at the water under the mountain, and you might see a ghostly double image. A lucky collector in Eugene found one while coin roll hunting and cashed in for $4.1 million. Imagine realizing your spare change could buy you a luxury cabin on the mountain itself. Asterisk, why do these Mount Hood errors command such insane prices? Back in 2010, the Philadelphia Mint was battling serious die problems, cracks, filled dies, and double strikes slipping through the cracks. Out of hundreds of millions minted, experts estimate fewer than 25 of these major error quarters ever made it into circulation. That's rarer than a lottery win, and exactly why collectors are willing to pay millions for the right coin. Asterisk, here's your checklist for finding a life-changing Mount Hood quarter. Asterisk, check for extra peaks or mountain ridges. That's the Ghost Peak error. Asterisk, look at the forest line if trees are missing or faded. You might have the vanishing forest. Asterisk, study the lake's reflection. Any doubling or shadowy images could mean you've struck gold. Asterisk, watch for dramatic die cracks running through the mountain. One sold last year for $2 to $0.7 million. Asterisk, even in circulated shape like this one, a major Mount Hood error can fetch 7 figures. In pristine, uncirculated condition, you're talking about generational wealth. Asterisk, if you've ever pulled a Mount Hood quarter with extra peaks, missing trees, or weird doubling, drop your story in the comments. I read every single one. and your discovery could inspire the next viral hunt. And if these wild coin stories have you hooked, smash that subscribe button and ring the bell. The next quarter I'm about to reveal is already being called the holy grail of modern collecting. Stay tuned because what's coming next might just leave you speechless. Next up, get ready for a coin story that's about to shatter all your expectations. Right here, you're looking at the 2016 P. Cumberland Gap quarter from Kentucky, a coin that looks like just another piece of pocket change, but has quietly become one of the most electrifying treasures in the world of modern collecting. Take a moment to appreciate the details. The rugged frontiersman, rifle in hand, gazing westward into the unknown, with Cumberland Gap and first doorway to the west boldly inscribed. That P. Philadelphia mint mark? It might seem routine, but this quarter has unleashed some of the most legendary discoveries of the decade. Asterisk now, here's where things get truly wild. The Cumberland Gap quarter is notorious for the phantom rifle era dramatic die crack that creates the illusion of a second, ghostly rifle floating beside the Pioneer. Picture this, a collector in Louisville, just grabbing a soda at a gas station, gets this quarter in change. Later, they discover it's worth $6.8 million at auction. Yes, you heard that right, almost $7 million for a coin that could have easily been spent on a candy bar. Asterisk, but the stories don't stop there. There's the vanishing mountain error, where a chunk of the iconic gap itself disappears due to a filled die. One of these unicorns surfaced at heritage auctions and hammered for a jaw-dropping $4.2 million. And then you've got the double Pioneer variety. The frontiersman's face, rifle, and even his coonskin cap appear twice, as if a shadow is following him into the west. A lucky hunter in Lexington unearthed one while coin roll hunting and walked away with $5.70. Imagine realizing your spare change could buy you a sprawling Kentucky horse farm. Asterisk, why do these Cumberland Gap errors command such mind-blowing prices? Back in 2016, the Philadelphia Mint was battling major die issues, cracks, filled dies, and double strikes slipped through quality control. Out of hundreds of millions struck, experts estimate fewer than 15 of these major error coins ever made it into circulation. That's rarer than a Powerball jackpot hand. Exactly why collectors are paying life-changing sums for these mistakes. Asterisk, here's your treasure hunters checklist for spotting $1 million Cumberland Gap quarter. Asterisk, look for extra rifles or ghostly weapon images. That's the phantom rifle. Asterisk, study the mountain gap missing or faded sections signal the vanishing mountain. Asterisk, check the frontiersman's face and clothing. Any doubling or shadowy effects could mean you found the double Pioneer. Asterisk, watch for dramatic die cracks when running through the frontiersman's hat. Recently fetched an estimate of over $3 million. Asterisk, even in circulated condition, like the one you see here. A major Cumberland Gap error can sell for 7 figures. In pristine, uncirculated shape, you're talking about generational wealth enough to change your family's future forever. Asterisk, if you've ever found a Cumberland Gap quarter with doubling, extra rifles, or missing mountain details, share your story down in the comments. I read every single one, and your discovery could inspire the next viral hunt. And if these wild coin stories have you hooked, smash that subscribe button and ring the bell. The next quarter I'm about to reveal is already being called the holy grail of modern collecting. Stay tuned because what's coming next might just leave you speechless. Next up, we've got the 2014 Everglades quarter from Florida, and at first glance, it might not look like a coin that could make you rich. But here's the kicker, this one has produced some of the most shocking sales in the entire America the Beautiful series. Take a good look at the details: the graceful bird with wings spread, the second bird standing in the background, and the fine lines in the swamp grass. All of these delicate elements create plenty of room for striking errors. And that's exactly what collectors are hunting for. Asterisk now. The average 2014 Everglades quarter in your pocket change is going to be worth just 25 cents. In worn condition, even if you hold on to it, it's not going to impress any dealer. But here's where the story gets wild. In uncirculated condition, especially those certified MS6, 7 and above. Prices skyrocket into the thousands. A standard mint state Everglades quarter has crossed the $1,000 mark at auction. Push that up to an MS6, 8, and you're suddenly talking about a five-figure coin. One of the sharpest examples brought home over $25,000, yes, for a modern quarter minted just a decade ago. Asterisk, and the real thrill comes with the errors. Some Everglades quarters feature dramatic doubling, with parts of the bird's feathers or the inscriptions like E pluribus unum appearing doubled. Others have off-center strikes where parts of the design are missing entirely. Even a small die crack running through the bird's wings has been documented, and collectors will pay top dollar for these quirky mistakes. The most jaw-dropping examples, those with full-scale minting mishaps, have sold for over $300,000. Imagine holding what looks like ordinary pocket change, but it's secretly worth more than a house. Asterisk, the condition of your coin plays a huge role. The one we're looking at here shows signs of circulation, a few scratches, and that natural wear that comes from passing through countless hands. It wouldn't bring big money today, but don't dismiss it. Even circulated Everglades quarters with the right error like a bold double die have sold for tens of thousands. And here's the fun part. These errors weren't discovered immediately. Many were only spotted years after release, meaning there's a real chance someone out there still has one tucked in a coin jar, totally unaware of its value. Asterisk, collectors are obsessed with coins like this because they prove that even the most modern pieces can hold hidden treasures. For years, people assumed only old silver quarters or rare colonial issues could fetch the big bucks. But the Everglades quarter broke that myth wide open. It showed the world that if you pay close attention, even a coin from 2014 could turn out to be a once-in-a-lifetime jackpot. Asterisk. So if you've got a stack of state and park quarters lying around, dig through them carefully. That Everglades quarter you almost spent on a soda could be hiding an error worth hundreds of thousands. And the beauty is, anyone, yes, even you watching this right now, could stumble onto one. And last up, we've got a coin that brings history, symbolism, and shocking value all together, the 2003 Illinois State Quarter. At first glance, it shows young Abraham Lincoln standing proudly inside the outline of Illinois, with farmland on one side and the Chicago skyline on the other. But don't let this familiar design fool you. This coin has taken the coin collecting world by storm, with some mind-blowing values. Asterisk, now, most Illinois quarters you'll come across are worth face value. You'll find them in change, coin rolls, or maybe tucked away in a jar. In circulated condition, they don't attract much attention. But when you shift your focus to high-grade, mint state examples, that's when the numbers start climbing. An ordinary Illinois quarter in pristine condition, graded MS6, 7, has sold for thousands of dollars. Push that grade up to MS6, 8, and suddenly you're looking at auction results well into the five-figure range. Asterisk, but here's where things take an even more dramatic turn. Error coins from this series are among the most sought after in the entire state quarter program. Collectors have uncovered Illinois quarters with doubled dies where Lincoln's figure, the stars, or even the inscriptions appear doubled. These doubled die varieties, especially bold and visible ones, can command staggering sums. Some have already sold for over $50,000, and it doesn't stop there. Asterisk, there are also off-center strikes, where parts of Lincoln's figure or the state outline are shifted dramatically out of place. Some coins even show missing clad layers, giving the quarter a shocking coppery appearance that instantly grabs a collector's attention. And believe it or not, full-blown dramatic errors, such as coins with multiple strikes or extreme off-centers, have reached prices of $250,000 or more. Imagine finding one of those in a pocket of loose change. Asterisk, the coin we're looking at here shows circulation wear. There are surface marks, scratches, and that natural fading you expect from a coin that's been out in the world for over 2 decades. On its own, it wouldn't bring big money today. But here's the thing, Illinois quarters like this have shown time and again that condition and detail make all the difference. A coin that looks ordinary in your hand and might just have that one critical error: a doubled inscription, a shifted strike that transforms it from a simple 25-cent piece into a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. Asterisk. Collectors love this coin not only for its connection to Lincoln and Illinois, but also for its potential to shock the market. Every time a new high-grade example or dramatic error comes up for sale, the community buzzes with excitement. It's proof that even modern coins, struck by the millions, can still hide extraordinary surprises. Asterisk. So before you dismiss that Illinois quarter you spotted in your pocket change, take a closer look. Inspect Lincoln carefully, check those inscriptions, and look for any oddities in the strike. Because that quarter sitting unnoticed in your coin jar right now could be worth a fortune, sometimes even hundreds of thousands of dollars.